Minnesota Governor Tim Walz says he's open to the Treasury Department's investigation after millions of taxpayer dollars reportedly made its way to a terrorist group in Somalia.
When the President of the United States sets up and tweets 150 times after midnight and targets certain people, it's not a coincidence that they're targeting Minnesota. If they want to help us, I welcome that. I think they do an investigation, find out, but I don't think anybody in here really believes their motive and their timing is about actually doing something about this.
The failed VP candidate is questioning the Trump administration's movements, but members of Congress say this is all about protecting Americans and their money. The House Oversight Committee, which is also investigating, says Walz was warned about massive fraud in a pandemic food aid program for children, yet failed to act. So far, at least 50 people have been convicted in the massive fraud scheme, with nearly 80 others getting charged. Minneapolis leadership claims this is a massive case of government overreach.
Targeting Somali people means that due process will be violated. Mistakes will be made. We need to also be demanding better from an administration who is intent on targeting people and committing so much time, energy, and money to terrorizing certain groups within our community. That's not American.
If there is anything that is, a violation of someone's human rights or civil rights, excessive force or anything like that, they absolutely have a duty to intervene as police officers.
What are they talking about? I mean, that first speaker was Jacob Frey, the mayor. And let me just quote the New York Times. Let's clear this up. This is not some right-wing investigative story targeting Tim Walz. No, New York Times says it's staggering in its scale and brazenness. This story, it's been happening for 5 years, and they wasted up to $1 billion, this is New York Times, in taxpayer money. That is more than Minnesota spends annually to run its Department of Corrections. That's the New York Times. Tell that to Jacob Frey.
Look, they're lying to you. In short, since 2019, primarily when Tim Walz became governor, to now, Minnesota's government has become a pseudo-criminal run enterprise. Another set of numbers that matter: from 2019 to 2023, Minnesota's SNAP payments, $509 million in 2019, 174% rise from 2019 to 20. 2019 to 20, and $1.5 billion plus in 2023. What happened in Minnesota that required that much of an increase in outbound SNAP money alone from that program? The fact is, they didn't choose to ignore. They simply closed their eyes to the waste, the fraud. A restaurant owner should not be stealing $250,000 in COVID funds, in one example, millions of dollars. Now we have the outbound money going to al-Shabaab, going through the NGOs, going through these. When you're stealing money from children, Tim Walz, which is what your administration let happen, and it's going overseas to terrorists, don't blame Donald Trump.
Yep. There's something I'm quite confused about. 2022 is when Merrick Garland started charging in this case. 2022. That's a lot of years ago. But yet the media somehow didn't discover the story. And then we find, I'm going to answer my own question. Let's look at this. Now that this has been covered by the New York Times, 0 minutes of coverage on ABC, 0 minutes CBS, less than 1 minute NBC. Harris, this has been going on since 2022. Where is the investigative
So I worked for ABC News for years in the Twin Cities, and the start of that was really the start of when we would see East African nations like Somalia coming over. And they had very good social programs in Minnesota. And so that was a magnet for them. And they came, and many were beautiful families. But what came with them were all of those connections that the Islamic State had, both outside our country and tied to some of those East African nations, and inside with al-Shabaab, that militant group that's on our soil. So you saw a lot of recruitment, and Minnesota had a problem with this, and they knew that they did. 2007, 2010, they knew that it was growing. They didn't cull it. They didn't. And so as it began to grow, those young, mostly men, were picked up, at least a dozen of them that we know of, maybe more. And those trials began by ISIS. It became a problem there. So if they were willing to ignore the veins of radicalization and terrorism in the state of Minnesota, why should we be surprised that they would ignore $1 billion plus?
You know what else they ignored, Harris? The Somali gangs. So it's not just about al-Shabaab. the Somali gangs in Minnesota that prey on their very own community that Ilhan Omar ignores. I have police officer sources there that have been telling me this for years.
They're a voting base.
You know, Kaylee, and I remember, because I was at the White House during this time, during COVID, and there were so many questions that came to me about the Paycheck Protection Program, which was there to support small businesses, to keep American citizens on payroll. And there was so much criticism of that, just to keep people working, keep American citizens getting paid. All the while, the press was totally turning a blind eye to this.
Yeah, and the reason why a thorough investigation into this scandal is so important is because it's really a perfect case study of the many failures of progressive governance. You had mass migration without any assimilation at all. You had racialized politics that pressured people not to say anything about the lack of assimilation. Then you had bureaucratic mismanagement of taxpayer funds, and then the total drive of any real accountability from the people who mismanaged those funds in the first place. You don't see any sort of apology from Tim Walz. Hey, Minnesotans, I'm sorry for wasting $1 billion by letting the Somali community do this. That is a major scandal. And, you know, it's not just Minnesota. And I will just say really quickly, to your point that this had been known for years, there is a group of state employees in Minnesota who said that they flagged this for Kamala Harris's campaign in the DNC when she tapped Tim Walz. And they said nothing about it. And there is a reason why Brooke Rollins yesterday in the cabinet meeting said that she's going after other blue states who are refusing to turn over SNAP data. It is because this is not just a Minnesota problem. This is a California problem. This is a New York problem. Our taxpayer funds are being exploited and abused, and we need to get to the bottom of it.
And you know, at the heart of each of those states, Cheryl, is I was shocked to read this in the New York Times. The episode has raised broader questions for some residents about the sustainability of Minnesota's Scandinavian-modeled system of robust safety net programs sustained by high taxes.
No.
Yeah. Bingo.
You want to bankrupt the city of Minneapolis? You know, go right ahead. But look, this is the tip of the iceberg, guys, on this investigation. I have a well-placed source that told me that the fraud is everywhere. It does point back to the Somali community, to be clear here, because of the al-Shabaab connections. But we're talking about Michigan. It's happening up in Canada. The same fraud schemes are going on in Canada. To your point about the Minnesota Department of Human Service employees, yes, they warned the Harris campaign, but they also warned Tim Walz specifically, and they were gaslit. They were ignored. They've been very vocal about it. And I don't know, thank you, the New York Times, for finally catching up to what everybody else already knows. But to your point about the politics, you know, Walz is running for governor again.
That's right.
So he has every reason to get in front of the cameras right now and decry all of this. Right. Because he needs the money. If you don't have the Somali community, as you know, Harris, if you don't have them behind you, you don't get elected.
You can't win in the Twin Cities. You can't win the state. And look, Senator Tom Emmer, Republican running up there, yeah, he's got plenty to say right now. So Walz had better speak up. Otherwise, he won't be in that race.
Oh, to be a Democrat, you can take taxpayer money intended for children, get it to terrorist groups unwittingly, and then have an aiding and abetting press corps. Like, wow, that's how this country works.
Hey, everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.